Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Hannah, and in today's video I am going to show you how to make homemade sauerkraut. Alright, what you're going to need to make homemade sauerkraut is obviously a head of cabbage, and I'm going to use some pink Himalayan salt. You can use sea salt or anything like that. You just can't use iodized table salt. A large bowl, a cutting board, and I've got two different sizes of mason jars out here because I'm not real sure on how much, or I don't know which jar my cabbage is going to fit in when I get it all chopped up. So I've got a quart jar out here, and I've got a half gallon. I think it's going to fit in this half gallon, but I'm not sure. So I got out both. But to get started, we are going to remove these outer leaves of the cabbage just because they don't look very good. My cabbage is pre-washed. I washed it the other day when I went to the grocery store. And to wash it, I just, along with all my other produce I get, I just run some water here in my sink and throw in a little bit of vinegar and let them all sit in there for a while and soak in that, and then drain the water, rinse them off, and lay them on a towel on the counter and dry them off. Remove some of these leaves that don't look the best. So I don't want that in my sauerkraut. Alright, now I'm just going to grab a knife to get this chopped up. Alright, now I'm just going to take my cabbage and I'm going to kind of just chop it up because I want to get it all removed from this inner, the inner like stem, the core. Not stem, core of the cabbage because it's really tough and I don't want to eat that. So I'm just going to chop all this outer pieces off. So I've got all my cabbage cut off the core. Now I'm just going to cut this up into some smaller pieces to fit inside my mason jars. Now I'm going to start adding some of these pieces I've chopped up into my large bowl. Now, making homemade sauerkraut is fairly easy. Actually, not fairly, it is really easy. You just need cabbage and salt. Just gotta chop your cabbage up, add some salt, massage it together, and throw it in a jar, and then let it sit, and there you go, you have homemade sauerkraut. cabbage cut up, I am going to add the salt now. I've got 1 head of cabbage, so I'm going to add probably about a tablespoon of salt. So what I was trying to say here is that you're wanting to massage and just like squeeze all the salt and cabbage together so that it can start making a brine. Alright, I added about a tablespoon of the salt to this, but I'm going to add about a tablespoon more because that was a fairly large head of cabbage. And now I'm just going to massage it in again so we can get the juices going. The salt is going to pull the juice out of this cabbage, and that way it will make a brine, and that is what's going to ferment our cabbage. So just squeeze and mash, massage all of this salt into these cabbage pieces until you start getting a moisture or liquid down in the bottom. Start putting this into my half-gallon mason jar. Now this does make a bit of a mess as you're putting it inside the jar because it needs to fall out while you're putting it in, but just start putting all this cabbage in there. I'm just going to pick up everything that falls out. As you can see, we have all this, you might be able to see, I'm not sure. We have brine here left in our in our bowl, and I'm just gonna pour all that into our jar. You're gonna want to take your cabbage leaves that you pulled off earlier and shove those down into your jar. Let me get all these pieces pushed down. Take your folded up cabbage leaf and push it down in there. These folded up leaves are what's gonna help keep all your cabbage pieces down below the brine, because you do not want them exposed to any air. You want them always submerged down in the brine, because if you don't, then they will mold up. Everything gets pushed down underneath that brine. Now they do make special fermenting weights and lids that you can buy off Amazon. I don't have any of those, so this is why I'm just using these leaves folded up and pushed down in there. Okay, alright, I'm going to use a plastic lid here for my jar, and you don't want to put this lid on tight. You want to leave it loose so that all the gases that come from fermenting can escape from the jar, but the lid also is going to just protect it from any kind of bugs or dust, dirt, whatever that could be floating in your air. Keep it out of your jar. Alright, here is what our cabbage looks like in the jar. try to tilt it over so you can see that there you go. There is liquid in there. That's the brine that the cabbage produced after massaging it with the salt. Now we're gonna leave this in our jar. I'm gonna leave mine probably for about a week, and that should be sour enough for the way I like it. And if you don't like yours that sour, you can leave it in there a little bit less time and eat it, but just keep tasting it and as it's sitting out on the counter, and the more you let it sit, the more sour it's gonna get. So just test it and see how sour you like it, and then when it gets to the sourness that you like, then you can go ahead and take out the folded up cabbage leaves, toss those, and you can go ahead and screw your lid on tight and all that and keep it inside the fridge. Homemade sauerkraut should last up to about 6 months if you keep it in your refrigerator. Alright, well, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, please like and subscribe. I really wanted to start incorporating some more of these like food from scratch, home cooked meals here on my channel. So if you really enjoyed that, please leave a comment down below and let me know so I will know to make more of these videos for you all.